All right, Shalom. Giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops at Great Millstone. I'm your brother Rabbi Knapp, coming out with a lesson, Lord's will. This is edifying to the Lord's elect. And, I've been watching the news today, strikes on Iran and all that, and then you just find out they actually killed the supreme leader. So, I'm going to read into that. I saw this on the BBC. It says an hour ago, what we know so far, Supreme Leader Khamenei killed as Iran launches retaliatory strikes. Let's see. Let me read a little bit about Khamenei. I really don't know too much about this man. Just a quick little wiki. Ali Hosseini Khamenei was an Iranian cleric. The Shia clergy are the religious leaders of Shia Islam. Shia Islam places great importance on the guidance of clergy, and each branch of Shiism maintains its own clerical structure. The most well-known Shia clergy belongs to the largest branch of Shia Islam, Twelver Shiism, whatever that means, and politician who served as the supreme leader of Iran from 1989 until his assassination in 2026, which was today. Khamenei, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, previously served as the president of Iran from 81 to 89. His tenure as supreme leader spanning 36 years and 6 months. Sounds like Esau. 36 years, 666. Fucking bullshit. As a matter of fact, I was listening to the Taliban. They said something. Let me see if I can get that. Let me finish this. Made him the longest serving head of state in Middle East at the time of his death, and the longest serving Iranian leader since Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. And I think they're trying to put his son in there. But when I was listening to the Taliban don't fuck with the Shiites. I don't know. I was hearing mixed reviews about Taliban. It was some of them were saying that they would help if there was an Iranian strike, but then I don't know what group it was, but they were basically saying how that the Israelis in this Iranian regime, they're the same people. So I don't know if he was basically saying they're all Israeli. What else would you say? That the government's fake because there was different policies that they were aligning themselves with Christians and the Israeli policies. So he was basically saying, which is kind of weird. I don't know how true that is, but I wouldn't doubt it, especially when you got the 36 years and 6 months. Come on, this shit's fake, man. This is how you know Esau is all in the details right here. Whenever it's 666, you just know it's Esau. Revelation 13. And verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 score and 6. So that's 666. All right, so we're showing you that, the devil's in the details, so to speak. Where did I drop it? Where is he at? It says, I'm not going to read all of it, but pretty much what I know about him, the supreme leader is like he's like very high in their religious sector. And when I was looking at some of the Iranian people, some of them were ready to go to war. They said they were waiting for him to give him the call, but now he's dead, so it doesn't sound like they're looking for regime change, man. They're probably looking to put something to death. That's what I would think. So their supreme leader's dead, killed as Iran launches retaliatory strikes. And then I was looking and saw Iran's news. They said that they're reporting the same thing. Marco Rubio saying it's true too. And if you watch on X, they showed some of the precision strikes this missile just it looked like it hit the ground, went inside the ground, and then exploded like 100 feet in the air. It's crazy. So these missiles, man, it ain't no joke. President Duck has said Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is dead hours after the U.S. and Israel launched a large-scale attack on the country. So Esau got a lot of, he got a, his train, he got a lot of trains, man. Many trains. Definition for a king. A train for a king in a traditional sense is the long trailing part of a royal robe or gown symbolizing splendor, victory, and power. Historically, it represents a monarch's glory, with length often indicating the number of victories or wealth. It can also refer to a retinue of attendants in specialized royal railway carriage. Would a king's train also include the deaths of other kings that he killed? Based on historical and symbolic records, a conquering king's train, referring to their entourage procession or literal train of their royal robe, could indeed include or be adorned with symbols representing the deaths of subjugation of other kings they killed. I want to see if there's any images about that. No, they don't show any. A royal train don't really show any. Israeli Prime Minister Najib Early said Khamenei's Tehran compound had been destroyed in a powerful surprise strike, and that there were many signs that the 86-year-old cleric was no more. So they don't even really know. There was many signs that he was no more. You can't believe none of this shit, man. Fucking bullshit. Khamenei's death was later announced on Iranian state TV. That's what I saw. But you just don't know, man. You know, a lot of this shit, all these damn heathen be working together. Psalms 83 in verse 1, keep not thou silence, O God, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So don't think that these heathen ain't working together against you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All this propaganda is just that. Okay, I go into a lot of different propaganda and stuff, but you know, to kind of be diligent in measuring the time. You know, even though this may or may not be real, it still is, the Lord is, you know, is working. You know, if this is what he wants people to think, even if it is true, who knows, man? Leaders get put to death all the time. You know, but the fact of the matter is, I'm trying to see where it lines up with prophecy so I can be more well aware of where we're at right now. You know, because you don't know what you're going to find out when you look as you're looking. You know, just like a watchman on a tower, you don't know what he's going to, he might not see anything. You know, or you might see something relevant. But the facts of the matter is, the scriptures tell you, you got to use the scriptures as a baseline. All right, so this is saying that these heathen are taking crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, which are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. These other nations are working together to keep you from being a nation, even though it might not seem like that because you think everything is just, you know, normal. It ain't normal. The society that we live in is not normal, man. It's all based on a lie and getting you not to know who your power is. That's how serious it is about the Lord, man. This ain't no joke. That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. The name of Israel is only in the mouths of those who believe in the word. Those who don't believe in the Lord The word ain't. They're not talking about Israel. They're not. They don't. They're not using the name of the Lord. They're not. They want you to be in that low state. They want that to continue. That's the plan of these damn heathen. Just talking about Israel is mighty within itself. Some of these people that got millions of people, they don't even talk about Israel. And I ain't talking about the small hats. I'm talking about the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans teaching this word. They don't want any type of propaganda going to them. They want all the distractions to get away from this truth. Psalms 83 verse 5, for they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. So the Lord is letting us know they all working together against you. So that's why I brought that up with the Taliban. Now I didn't want to take it because I'm sitting on a strike right now. I'm waiting. I don't know what. I think it got a couple days left. I don't know. But if I get 2 strikes, what's the point? I might as well. It's just not even worth it. I was getting weird strikes from out of nowhere. But this shit about to be a wrap anyways. This is what's in the news right now. But Psalms 83 and 5 said they have consulted with one consent. So they all agree to keep you from not knowing who you are. They're confederate against thee, meaning they're working together against the nation of Israel, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites. Okay, so they're working together. Moab, the so-called Chinese man, the Hagarenes, I think that's going into, I think that's more Arabs, because Hagar, people dwelling to the east of Palestine, with whom the tribes of Reuben made war in the time of Saul. So dwelling east of Palestine, a member of a certain Arabian clan. So that's more Arabs. All right. Gabal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. So, Tyre, it really goes back to the Canaanites, but nowadays the Philistines are the Arabs, for example. Tyre also. These different Arab nations working together. So the Persians would fall under Elam. Now Elam is not written in Psalms 83, but he would probably be under, because they kind of with the Ishmaelites too. Elam, like the Persians are kind of mixed with both, but they really descend back to Elam. Psalm 83 verse 8, Asher also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot, Salah. And the children of Lot are Moab and Ammon, which are so-called Japanese man and Chinese man. But let's look at this word Gabal. We know Amalek's small hat. But let's see, Gabal, I think that's a Hamite nation. A boundary, a mountainous area south of the Dead Sea. A region in Idumea. Gabal. Well, Idumea, it would go back to Esau. A mountainous region inhabited by the Edomites, extended southward from the Dead Sea. Now, that's definitely more Edomites. But, just like these different kings, you don't know, according to Job 9 and 24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Esau used to run Iran with that Shah that it mentioned before. So who knows if even this other government could be Esau too. Who knows, man? Could be just another damn small hat, because that's what that Taliban dude was pretty much what he was insinuating. He said they're both of one stone. They're both the same. And someone that's speaking like that is someone that if he's saying things like that, I don't think he getting paid by anybody, He probably don't like the way he's representing his religion. There's some hardcore, they know what they stand for. They might be considered, terrorists and shit, but I don't see them niggas over here. I see them niggas right in their own land, fighting in their own land. If you fighting in your own land, how can you be a terrorist in your own damn land? You know, this place is backwards. Psalms 83 in verse 9, do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin at the brook of Kishon, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. So let's look that up. I think that's going in the book of Judges 7 and 22. Let's just read it. And the 300 blew the trumpets, and the Lord said, every man sword against his fellow, even throughout all the hosts. And all the hosts fled by Beth Shittah and Zerarath, and to the border of Abel Mahola unto Tabath. And the men of Israel gathered themselves together out of Naphtali and out of Asher and out of all Manasseh, and pursued after the Midianites. And Gideon sent messengers throughout all Mount Ephraim, saying, come down against the Midianites and take before them the waters of Beth Barah and Jordan. Then all the men of Ephraim gathered themselves together and took the waters of Beth Barah and Jordan. And they took the princes of the Midianites, Oreb and Zeb, and they slew Oreb upon the rock Oreb, and Zeb they slew at the winepress of Zeb, and pursued Midian, and brought the heads of Oreb and Zeb to Gideon on the other side of Jordan. So the Psalm of Asaph is basically saying, cut the heads off of these leaders, of our enemies. That's what Psalms 83 is about, because you chop the head off, you know, that's the rest of the body, man, is going to die. So, you know, instead of destroying everybody, just destroy the heads of these different nations that got war with Israel. You know, so, you know, these Psalms, you really need to understand what the men of the Lord were actually praying for. They weren't praying like these Christians and the shit that they put, let's all hold hands together and kumbaya all the damn time. No, we want the heads of the leaders that's coming up against the nation of Israel. Okay? That's what he's praying for. Do unto them, unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin at the brook of Kishon. Okay, now this is, I'm down here, Salakia, Psalm, and that's a different thing. You know, you go to Psalms 83 and 9. That's talking about Oreb and Zeb. But Jabin, I think that's who got the nail in the head. Let's look him up. Jabin, Judges 4 in verse 17. Howbeit Sisera fled away on his feet to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite. For there was peace between Jabin, the king of Hazor, and the house of Heber the Kenite. So God subdued on that day Jabin, the king of Canaan, before the children of Israel. And the hand of the children of Israel prospered and prevailed against Jabin, the king of Canaan, until they had destroyed Jabin, king of Canaan. So I think I gotta go into this just a little bit. Okay, so I guess they just destroyed them. I'm thinking Judges 4, verse 21. Then Jael's Heber's wife took a nail of the tent and took a hammer in her hand and went softly unto him and smote the nail into his temples and fastened it into the ground, for he was fast asleep and weary, so he died. Yeah, I think this is what I was talking about. Let me see, who did she do this to? Details Jael, wife of Heber, killing the exhausted Canaanite general Sisera by driving a tent peg through his temple into the ground with a hammer while he slept. So this is what we're asking for. So Lord is asking, Asaph is asking that this happen to the leaders of the people who are coming up against Israel. Put a tent stake inside of their brains when they sleeping. You know, chop their heads off and give it to Gideon. You know, it's not pray for them and kumbaya with them and so we can have world peace. Now, put them underneath our feet so we can rule over them. and then destroy Esau. Psalms 83 in verse 12, who said, let us take to ourselves the house of God in possession. The houses of God in possession. So, that, they want to keep us, they want to be in power. And they can only do that if we continue to be, as a nation, disobedient to our Lord. Am I reading this right? No, I want Psalms 83, verse 12. Break that down. It says, it signifies a direct challenge to God's sovereignty and covenant promises, aiming to steal what he has given to his people, right? Which is the promises. They want to steal our land. They want to fight over there, just defile it. They want to keep us in captivity because everything was created for Israel's sake. So they want whatever little power that they have, they want to hold on to that. Because that power, the power that they have don't even belong to them. And that's why the Lord's taking people out as we speak. Let's grab this in the book of Psalms. It's a lot. Psalm 75. And God abases the proud but exalts the righteous. So I'll start at the top. Psalm 75 and 1, to the chief musician, Altashith, a psalm or song of Asaph. This is another song of Asaph. Unto thee, O God, do we give thanks. Unto thee do we give thanks, for that thy name is near, thy wondrous works declare. That's right. Let's look at Asaph real quick. I believe he's a Levite. Asaph was a prominent Levite musician, seer, and worship leader, appointed by King David to lead musical worship before the Ark of the Covenant. He is recognized as a major author in the book of Psalms, credited with writing 12 Psalms, Psalms 50, 73 to 83. The name means gatherer or collector. So he's a Levite. Psalm 75, verse 2, when I shall receive the congregation, I will judge uprightly. The earth and all the inhabitants thereof are dissolved. I bear up the pillars of it, Salah. I said unto the fools, deal not foolishly, and to the wicked, lift not up the horn. Now, the horn is going into your power. But they've been dealing foolishly because they're not operating under the law, statutes, and commandments. So they're not, everything that they're doing is based around the scriptures. So this is written from the beginning. This is how you know the Lord's word is true. So you can't really ignore the fact that these different nations are working together and then think you actually know what the Bible's saying. They work together to keep you in this stupid ass state. And it tells you in Job 9 and 24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So they got power over these different nations. Even they took over Russia way back in the day. China, all of them are confederate against us, just like it told you in Psalm 83. Psalm 75, verse 5, lift not up your horn on high, speak not with a stiff neck. For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. But God is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another. So he just put Khamenei down. And he going to set somebody else up. So whoever the Lord wants to rule in a particular area, that's what it is. Okay? His reign is over with. All of these kings going to have their reign taken away. So I want to be surprised about who was who. But I believe his son is still alive. Let's look at who's Iranian leader, Supreme Khamenei's son. Motaba. Let's look him up. Look just like him, younger version though. So his father just died. Let's see if we got any news on this man here. Who might replace Iran's supreme leader? There's no clear successor. His son's gonna replace him. That's who he was. He was hiding while his son was doing all the footwork. When I was reading it a couple of days ago, why Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's son Mojtaba is unlikely to be Iran's next supreme leader. Let's see why. Why is he unlikely? All eyes are on Iran and the possible supreme leader. Amid reports of Ayatollah Khamenei being killed, Israel's Prime Minister, not a Jew, claimed there was evidence to suggest the 86-year-old was no longer alive following strikes on his compound in Tehran. But how do we know your missiles did it? Dude's 86 years old. This comes amid the Israel and U.S. offensive launched on Iran today. A senior Israeli official also told Reuters that Khamenei's body had been found. So if his body had been found, that leads me to think you didn't blow him up. Khamenei has been the leader of the Islamic Republic since '89, a decade after he rose to prominence during the theocratic revolution. Now, in the event that claims about his death do turn to be true, Iran would get a new supreme leader. Khamenei reportedly identified 3 potential successors last year itself as New York Times. Per New York Times, they are senior clerics. And the report added that Khamenei's son, Mojtaba, I'm not saying his name right, though long considered a frontrunner, was not among the chosen candidates. So, how you gonna say who ain't, like, I want to listen to these niggas. I'm gonna say his son won it. Why wouldn't he? Mojtaba Khamenei is a cleric who's reportedly closely aligned with the Islamic Revolution Guards Corps. Here's why he's unlikely to be the successor. Mojtaba is unlikely to be the successor, has a series of hurdles on the path of becoming the next supreme leader of Iran as per Middle East Institute. The first challenge is likely to be constitutional requirements. As per Islamic Republic's constitution, Assembly of Experts appoints Khamenei's successor. Candidates must have political experience as per the law. Mojtaba reportedly fails on this account. The Institute noted this is because despite running the office of the supreme leader de facto, he's had no formal political roles in the regime. So this is what you have counsel for. Look at the duck. He don't know his ass from his face, but he's fucking doing all this shit. Somebody's telling him to do this, that, and the third. He don't have any military background, but yet he's bombing shit like fucking like he got all this knowledge. No, he's sitting down with a council. So if that's a qualification, you got plenty of people around his same leaders. That's what happened with Rehoboam. You know, Rehoboam, he was young. We had leaders that were 8 years old. You think they just made decisions on their own at 8? No, he took counsel from previous leaders who, you know, from the best of the best, people he trusted, people that were older and wiser than him. You know, he had his law. You know, so he was good. I'm thinking, I forgot the king's name. But let me find out who I'm talking about since I'm bringing him up. Who's the 8-year-old king that ruled over Judah? King Josiah is the 8-year-old king who ruled over the southern kingdom of Judah, reigning for 31 years. So he was 8 years old. Succession, he became a king at 8, according to 2 Kings 22:1 and 2 Chronicles 34:1. He reigned for 31 years in Jerusalem. So for 8-year-old can rule in Jerusalem back then, he can rule. And if he does rule, it just goes to show you Esau don't know what the fuck he's talking about. But at the same time, we'll see, you know, how they want it. They from what I'm hearing, Iranians don't, especially the Iranians over here, who gives a fuck about them? You over here happy that, you know, America's bombing your country. This is how you know these people, they're drunk off that Babylonian wine. Yeah, they're happy, they're singing and protesting in the streets and shit. I think there's protesters, you know, protesting against what they're doing. But I'm seeing Iranian people saying, well, I didn't never live there, but it just goes to show you, but you stupid as hell if you want Babylon to rule over you. You know, these people are dumb. then you basically saying they should just take over the whole world since everyone's being oppressed. Then just let them take over the whole world. They can take your kids, start eating them, and setting up honey pot rings in your country. So you can start taking your kids, putting them to death, eating your kids up. Stupid motherfuckers. If Majapa were to be the next supreme leader, it would go against Shia Islamic Convention. I don't even give a fuck. I don't even want to read about that nigga anyways. Clearly, I thought that was going to be somebody that's going to rule next. But Esau's telling you a bunch of different reasons why he ain't going to be in there. We'll see who's going to rule. Someone's already in the seat. He just don't know who. Israeli Prime Minister, I read that. Khamenei's death was later announced on Iranian TV. Iran responded to the attack by launching missiles and drones towards Israel and 4 Gulf Arab countries which host U.S. military bases: Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, and UAE. Yeah, what's happening in Iran? Shortly after 9:30 local time on Saturday, Iranian media reported explosions in the capital, Tehran. Pictures showed smoke over the city's Jamhuri Square and Hassanabad Square. Explosions were also reportedly heard in several other cities across the country, including Karaj near Tehran, Isfahan and Qom in the center of the country, and Kermanshah in the west. Videos circulating on social media showed people running in panic near sites of explosions. The sound of screams and crying could be heard in the background. Okay, so what the hell is going on? Strike. I'm not going to read all this. I'm trying to skim through it. On Saturday evening, a spokesman for the Iranian Red Crescent told local media 24 of Iran's 31 provinces had been hit in U.S. and Israeli strikes. 31 provinces, huh? He also said a total of 201 people had been killed and 747 others injured across the country, without providing a regional background. State media said at least 85 people had been killed in an Israeli strike on a primary school for girls in Minab Hormozgan province. The BBC has not been able to verify the reports. Yeah, they can't verify that shit, huh? That's a tactic of Amalek. Tells you how he likes to go against the hindermost. I forgot how to. I always forget this precept. The hindermost. Let's look that up. When Amalek fought the hindermost. KJV. Deuteronomy 25. Exodus 17 and 8. Let's go there first, since I'm already here. Exodus 17 and 8. Then came Amalek and fought with Israel in Rephidim. I don't think it's this battle. No, this is a different battle. Deuteronomy 25. And 17. Remember what Amalek did unto thee by the way when ye were come forth out of Egypt. So we're coming out of Egypt just after the Exodus. Pharaoh was slayed. We end up going to war with Amalek. How he met thee by the way and smote the hindmost of thee. So not the, let's look at this word, hindmost. To attack the rear, smite the tail, to cut off. Hindmost. Let's look into this root word. Tail and stump. Of common people opposed to rulers. They don't really get into it the way let's look it up. Deuteronomy 25 and 17. No, Deuteronomy 25 and 18. How? Let's look that up in the chat. Because this is how this nigga fights, man. How he met thee by the way. Deuteronomy 25 and 18. And smote the hindmost of thee, even all that were feeble behind thee, when thou wast faint and weary, and he feared not God. So you were faint and weary, and the people who were in the back, he was putting, who would be the most faint and weary? Old people, young babies, they need help. Sick. The people that are sick, that's why you hear about this nigga bombing hospitals and shit. That's how this nigga fights. Girls, school with girls in it. This nigga's the devil. But he got precision, he can find you deep underground in a bunker. He'll bomb that shit. But, it just accidentally hit a school over there, too. Like, come on, man. I don't believe none of that shit he be talking about. He's doing the same shit he always did because he's the wicked. This verse is speaking about what Amalek did to Israel after they came out of Egypt. Hindmost, from the idea of the rear or tail end of a group, referring to the weak, faint, exhausted. Amalek didn't fight Israel head on like a righteous enemy would. They attacked the back of the camp, the weak, the elderly, the women, the children, when Israel was tired and weary from their journey. So that's what that's how that nigga fights. And he does it exactly the way the Lord, that's how he does it. That was Amalek's idea to do that. All right, hit that, and then, get him there, but also hit, that school too. Make sure you do both simultaneously. Do y'all agree? Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's do it. Press the button. Hurry up. This shows cowardice attacking from behind. Wickedness targeting the weak. No fear of God. They knew Israel had just been delivered from Egypt, yet they still opposed the Lord's people. Then when you look into it, I just did a video last night saying how war was still on the table, and then go to sleep, you wake up, they done bombed all this shit. But when you were reading the news articles from last night, they were basically saying, or the day before the bombing, they were basically saying how they were going to have further negotiations with Marco Rubio, I believe on Monday. So here it is. Instead of being at a high alert where you can tell all your people, you pretty much unguarded, and that's how they get you. Yeah, we're gonna talk on Monday. Then he bombs you the same day you're supposed to talk the next day, and he gets you during school hours. So it's all planned. That's some high level wickedness right there. And then as the duck was speaking, they were still bombing that place. So he's speaking, oh yeah, we need to do this, that, and the third, and blah, 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 so we can have peace for further this and that. And niggas bombing the place. Mid-speech. So this is how wicked this place is, man. These people are full of shit. Precepts. Proverbs 17:5, he that mocketh the poor reproacheth his maker. Let's look that up. What's that mean? He that mocketh the poor. Whoever mocks the poor shows contempt to their maker. Whoever gloats over disaster will not go unpunished. This verse highlights that mistreating or laughing at those in need is an insult to God who created them, and warns that celebrating the misfortune of others brings divine punishment. I'll read all that. The Most High takes special offense when the weak are targeted, his people are attacked in their vulnerable state, nations show no fear of him. And that's when you attack kids and shit, that's showing you have no fear of the Most High. That's why Amalek was marked for judgment, and that's why he's going to be destroyed. You do shit like that. Oops, I did that by accident. Okay, oops, you're going to be destroyed forever. See you later. If you liked, I can also go, nah, I'm good. So it's showing you who the wicked is. Same shit that happened to us, man. All these sanctions you put on the people, the protests, all that shit. Then, all right, I'm gonna smack the school too. I'm not going to read that whole article. Iranian state media confirmed Supreme Leader Khamenei is dead, so they reported it too. Iran says U.S. and Israel strikes hit school, killing 108. That news article didn't say 108. It did say all-girl school. At least 108 people have died in an explosion at a school in southern Iran, according to a local prosecutor. It happened as the U.S. and Israel launched massive airstrikes against the country. President Mossad Pezeshkian said it was a barbaric act and another black page in the record of countless crimes committed by the aggressors. There has been no confirmation by the two Western countries of the attack on the school located near a base on Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, which has been the target of the strike. So that's the feeble, that's the hindmost that were attacked, just like Amalek did. So the Spirit bears witness that who the Amalekites are, just like the Spirit bears witness who the Israelites are. First of all, it tells you in Isaiah the 2nd chapter, when you go over to that land, you shall learn war no more. You should already have, when we go into the land and it get built up, we ain't have to do all this shit that this nigga's doing. We gonna have it from the Nile River to the Euphrates. It's gonna be even expanded more than what he's looking for. He trying to expand himself. You ain't gonna make it. It's like it tells you in Job 20th chapter, man. You ain't gonna see the butter and the honey or whatever, however it breaks it down, because that's not your blessing. You're a bastard. In Ashdod, the Iranian Red Crescent said at least 201 people throughout the country had been killed in airstrikes, with 747 injured, which matches up with what the BBC said. Red Cross and Red Crescent officials in Geneva said the society had mobilized response teams to go to the school following the incident. An official said that the school in the town of Minab in Hormozgan province had been targeted by 3 missile attacks. So it wasn't a mistake, man. Targeted by 3 missile attacks. It is located about 600 meters, 1,968 feet from the base of IRGC. The BBC has verified clips of the aftermath of the explosion, which shows smoke rising from a building as crowds gather nearby and people can be heard screaming in panic. But it has not been able to independently verify the death toll. International news organizations are often refused visas to Iran, which severely limits their ability to gather information there. And then they got Iranians over here praising the attack. That's just wicked as hell, man. Oh, the regime changed. You ain't got nothing to say about these kids either. That's why this place it's just too wicked, man. This place is demonic as hell, man. That's super fucking demonic. These people are evil. It's because they've been in Babylon too long. They believe all the rhetoric, all the propaganda. They just programmed to think like demons. An Iranian living abroad who opposes military intervention in Iran commented, "The first victims of this war are 40 girls in Minab hit by a missile attack. Is this the war you cheer for?" That's right. Is this the war you cheer for? You know, and you wonder why the Lord's going to condemn this place. Deep mistrust of the Iranian regime, however, makes official reports difficult for many to accept, and some Iranians directly blame the regime for the attack. How do you blame the regime for the attack? I don't get that. They've been getting bombed left and right. They're not putting sanctions on themselves. I mean, what do you want them to do? He said you can't. He's not stockpiling weapons. But then I'm reading a report that they're like days away from creating a nuclear missile. So I don't know what the hell to believe. People have no shelters. The internet is cut. Phone lines are down. And there has been no warning to keep children out of school. In these conditions, the minimum requirement should be to stay at home. Well, you should have stayed at home. Discernment should have told you to stay at home. If you completely relying on man to this is why wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of the times. What's that? Isaiah 30. Did I finish this? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Isaiah 32 or 31. I think it's 31. It might be Isaiah 30, where it talks about Isaiah 30. I'll start at the top. Judah warned against Egyptian alliance. Woe to the rebellious house. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. That walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt be your confusion. Trust in the shadow of Egypt, your confusion. So pretty much trusting in, is actually talking about America, but just trusting in your government, no matter where you're at. If you think that they're gonna protect you, that's the wrong thing to put your trust in. Clearly, your government couldn't save you. They couldn't even tell you to keep your kids away from school. You're gonna need discernment in these last days. You got to measure the times diligently. See, a lot of y'all don't know what the hell's going on in the world, and you just be thinking everything's sweet. It's not, man. The Lord's going to be revealing the Lord's going to be revealing certain things to his men. And it's because they're diligently watching. Y'all just go along to get along all the damn time. You're going to get put to death. Now, if the Lord was dealing with you, you wouldn't send your kids to school. If he was dealing with your kids wouldn't have got put to death. You blame that on the government. You clearly don't know the scriptures. Job 4 verse 7. Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off? The Lord ain't doing any iniquity when he puts something to death. He know exactly what that spirit did, who they are, all of that. Isaiah 45 and 7, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. So give the Lord his credit. That's who you should really be mad about. Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai. And we say Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai because of, I think it's John 5, verse 22. For the Father judgeth no man, but have committed all judgment unto the Son. So you gotta be mad at Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai. Okay? So it was up to him to allow these things to happen. And you would have been able to please him if you were searching for him, and you gotta be Israel. Well, you ain't even really gotta be Israel for the Lord not to destroy you. The Lord, he messes with some heathen too and showed favor, just like Rahab and things like that. But they believed in Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai. He said he's going to have mercy on who he's going to have mercy. But the Lord knows. There's a lot of heathen that ain't, that received favor from the Lord. That don't make you an Israelite. But you trusting in something that false idol, man, you ain't got, you out of here. You through. Let's see, is there anything else I need to read? It says, deep mistrust of the Iranian regime, however, makes official reports difficult for many to accept. I read that. People have no shelters. I read that. The attacks seem to continue despite President Donald Duck saying Iran's Supreme Leader Khamenei together with many of his senior commanders had been killed in the initial strike. So he's saying more than that, even their senior commanders. Iranian state media later confirmed Khamenei's death. If you were all in one place and he put you all to death like that, man, come on, man. That shit don't even make any sense. Yeah, let's all be supreme leaders and all sit in the same room. What? How many of y'all got to get put to death before you realize maybe we should not be all together? And however Esau is finding you, who knows why, man? It's the Lord, you know. Because if your internet's cut off and all of that, Esau runs all that shit. He can see through your house. Niggas watching everything. That's a heavy strike. Esau done. That's some scary shit, man. Caught you in a bunker, like, and if you look online, he shot through. He killed some civilians too, but they were waiting at a red light. He just, boom. The missiles they're terrible. Strait of Hormuz, key oil route in middle of Iran crisis. The Strait of Hormuz is a strategic choke point for seaborne oil that Iran has long used as geopolitical bargaining chip, with Tehran repeatedly threatening to close it during times of crisis. A senior naval commander of Iran's Revolutionary Guard again threatened its closure in the event of an attack in late January. On Saturday, President Duck made good on his warnings of military action should the Islamic Republic fail to cut a deal to curb its nuclear program, with the U.S. and Israel launching a joint operation targeting regime sites and military facilities across Iran. They failed to cut a deal, but you bombing them. It's like you don't want them to create a missile, but you're attacking them the whole way through. So it sounds like they better hurry up and create a missile. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like everyone need to get their missiles up. This should be a world. How can I put it? That's the example that he's given to the world. Everyone need to have missiles. I'm gonna do the same thing to you. Despite its frequent warnings of a blockade, Tehran has never acted on them, though it closed part of the strait briefly for safety reasons during recent military drills. I thought it was closed. When was this? The 28th at 4 o'clock p.m. Oil I heard they shut the Gulf of Hormuz, but maybe, like I said, just some partial block for military purposes. The strait is a vital corridor connecting the oil-rich Gulf with markets in Asia, Europe, North America, and elsewhere. So if they shut it down, it hurts them just as well as it hurts everyone else. According to U.S. Energy Information Administration, the Strait of Hormuz is one of the world's most important oil choke points. About 1/5 of global oil and petroleum product consumption flows through the strait, averaging 20 million barrels per day in 2024, according to the EIA. So what's up with the price of gas? Is it going up or what? Yeah, what the attacks on Iran mean for oil? Let's see what Investors Business Daily saying. The coming week will revolve around the response to the joint U.S.-Israel attack on Iran by the stock market as well as commodities, particularly oil. The S&P 500 logged its 7th slip in 9 weeks this year as it continues to ground along resistance at the 7,000 level and at its 10-week moving average. The NASDAQ is also down 7 of the past 9 weeks, struggling stubbornly below resistance at its 10-week level. The Dow Industrials, down in 6 of the past 9 weeks, clocked their first close below the 10-week level since November for February. The Dow gained 0.2% in a 10th straight monthly gain, its longest advance since the run-up ended in January 2018. The NASDAQ fell 3.4%. The S&P 500 dipped 0.9%. Stock market focus, oil prices. Regarding oil prices, there are two key differences between the raid in June and the current assault. First, Saudi Arabia was reported over the past week to be increasing output and exports in order to moderate any possible supply interruption from a potential U.S. attack on Iran. In addition, an OPEC Plus meeting is set for Sunday to discuss output quotas. The group had previously pledged to pause a planned production increase until April. And I thought they just got bombed, so if you're going to bomb anything in Saudi Arabia, it'd be that oil field. Second, the U.S. military has masked a substantial naval presence in the region and specifically targeted Iranian naval assets in its attacks. Combined, those factors would aim to weaken any potential the Iranians might have to disrupt shipping in the region, particularly in the Strait of Hormuz, a key choke point for tankers traveling from Saudi and other key energy producers. So I guess the stock market is still trying to with everything going on, seeing if it escalates and stuff like that. There's a lot of uncertainty, I guess what you can say. World reacts to U.S.-Israel attack on Iran, Tehran retaliation. Who cares? This is what I want to see. Protesters rally across U.S. after Iran strikes and reports of Khamenei killing. As new reports circulated that Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei had been killed in U.S. and Israeli airstrikes on Tehran, anti-war protesters gathered across the United States, including outside the White House and in New York Times Square, to voice opposition to U.S. military involvement in the region. This is border peace, ? Stop the war on Iran. So you're gonna be protesting a lot. It wasn't sanctioned. They still wearing masks. Fucking weirdos, man. And pocketbooks. Like, what the fuck is going on here? It was sanctioned by Congress. So what Duck is doing is on his own terms. It's making him a fascist, and it's making the country into a fascist state, said Sue Johnson, a protester. Duck, she added, just couldn't wait. He's such an impatient child. He's like, well, ICE didn't work, so let's go stir things up in the Middle East. He bombed Iran for no specific reason. See? Even Esau's tongue's falling upon himself, and he is like a little child. This book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10, verse 16. Woe to thee, O land, when thy king is a child, and thy princes eat in the morning. Because what they're basically saying is he want to get around the Epstein file bullshit. Eating human meat and drinking blood and sleeping with little boys and girls. That's something he want to pretty much hide from, but you can't hide from it. It's too late. Nobody can't hide yourself from that. It's just way worse than. The more he deflects, the more he's gonna. That's why he's gonna come down with great wrath. All this bullshit. More shit's gonna be exposed, and the more shit that gets exposed, the more he gotta ramp it up. That's why he's gonna come with great wrath upon the men of the Lord. One day it's ICE. Next day is Venezuela. Next day is Cuba. Next day is Colombia. Then it's Nigeria. Then it's gonna be the men of the Lord. Are they gonna be coming up against us? Like it tells us in Revelation chapter 12, verse 17, and the dragon, which is Esau, was wroth with the woman, which represents Israel, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which are the elect of Israel, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach. So we got the testimony, we got the prophecies, we're lining them up. Revelation 19 and verse 10, and I fell at his feet to worship him, and he said unto me, see thou do it not, I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushua. Worship God, for the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. So we got the spirit of prophecy. All right, so that's who he's coming after, the prophets. Because it tells you in the book of 1 Corinthians 14, verse 32, that the spirit of the prophets is subject to the prophets. So that's who he's making war with. And the spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets. 1 Corinthians 14, verse 32. So he's coming after them because it's just another, he's probably going to use it as a guise to kind of deflect from whatever's going on during that time. Calling us all type of T-words, just trying to make us look like he did with the immigrants, like he did with everybody. He dehumanizes them. Shit, he might even put a number out there. Yo, if you get this dude, we'll put some credits on your RFID microchip and get some of you beasts to come try to come get us. And we're going to put y'all to death in that time. That's what I think. Who knows? Might bash one of y'all upside your head. All praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Amos chapter 5 verse 10, they hate him that rebuketh in the gate, and they abhor him that speaketh uprightly. So they hate us because we're rebuking the Edomites for being wicked. As a matter of fact, since they're protesting, I gotta grab 2nd Esdras, the 9th chapter. Because if they protesting about that, they got a lot of more protesting to protest about, especially with the Lord telling you everything that's going to happen. He answered me then and said, 2nd Esdras 9:1, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, so uproars of the people of the world, or these different protests, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. But there's going to be more and more protests. There's protests in Iran right now too. Some of them, people are mad at the regime. Some of them probably want to go to war. People are probably lining up to join the military. Just like when 9/11 hit this place, mad people went and joined the military. I would think the same thing, that because you can galvanize over an attack like that. You just lose your supreme leader, someone that's supposed to be like second to God to you. And who did that? The duck in Israel, the big bad wolf. So now you're looking at them, you're already burning, they were burning flags and all that type of shit. That's why you can't believe any of this propaganda. Regular people are not happy about any of these damn governments. All these damn governments are wicked. Why? Because they're not operating under law, statutes, and commandments. Proverbs 29:2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. So these heathen don't need to be in any power. All of them. Every single government that ain't Israel need to be ruling, taking all the power from the heathen. That's what the Lord's coming to do. Because they don't deserve it. They don't need it. They need to be ruled over, beat over their head, listening to us. That's what their purpose down here is for. That's it. It's the book of Revelation 19:11. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. So that's talking about Yahushua. He's coming to judge and make war with these heathen who think they're in power. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. So his eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, because he's taking all these damn heathens' crowns. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name was called the Word of God. So this vesture dipped in blood is because of the bloodshed he gonna do to y'all when he get here. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon the white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And that's talking about the other chariots. That's because the whole host of heaven is gonna be unleashed. But Yahushua is gonna be redeeming his elect and destroying these heathen. Revelation 19:15, and out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword. And that's talking about the laser beams coming out of the chariots. That with it he should smite the nations. So we're talking about you heathen. Okay, you're going to get smoked, mean destroyed. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. You're going into slavery, and you're going to get beat upside your head. Then you're going to be keeping our law, statutes, commandments, and all your gods. That shit's a wrap. No more serving no other God except for Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. And if you do, you're going to get put to death. And he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness of the wrath of the Almighty God. So the Almighty God is mad at you heathen nations for not establishing the law, statutes, and commandments, and for what you did to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, like it tells you in Psalms the 83rd chapter. So you're gonna get hurt for that. We're gonna put you in slavery too, just like the Arabs. You put us in slavery. We're going to put you in slavery. And just like the so-called white man, he put us in slavery. He going to go in slavery just like the so-called Chinese man put us in slavery. He going into slavery too. Revelation 19 and 16. And he have on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So our King, our Lord, Yahushua is going to be ruling over everybody. And I saw an angel standing in the sun. And he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of the heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great God. Yeah, the fowls of the birds that are going to eat your dead bodies, that ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. So that's going to be a great feast for the birds. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. So you're going to try to fight against the Lord and his army, you're going to be destroyed. Back to you protesters. Duck, she said, added, couldn't wait. He's such an impatient child. He's like, well, ICE didn't work, so let's go stir things up in the Middle East. He bombed Iran for no specific reason. Well, he did it because the Lord made him do it. Proverbs 21 and 1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever he will. But the heathen, they don't understand that. They give credit where it don't belong. Esau is he's just a tool that the Lord's using to bring forth his will. Zephaniah chapter 3 verse 8. Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them my indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. So he's going to destroy them. We got to wait for him to gather them into the Middle East so he can kill them. So this is where they need to go. So let it happen. What you protesting about? Jeremiah 49:20. Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord that he have taken against Edom, which are the so-called white man, and his purposes, that he have purpose against the inhabitants of Teman, which are the so-called German man. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out, which is the so-called small hat man. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. He gonna bring them in the Middle East so they can be destroyed. So book of Joel chapter 2 verse 20. But I will remove far off from you the northern army, which is the American U.S. military, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, which is Saudi Arabia, with his face towards the east sea, which is the Euphrates River, and his hinder part toward the utmost sea, which is the Red Sea. And his stink shall come up, meaning he's going to be destroyed, and his ill savior shall come up, because he have done great things, which is claimed to be the nation of Israel, blasphemy, all these different doctrines, all the hell he put on the nation of Israel. For what he's done in the earth, he's going to pay for all of it. It says no president can attack or kidnap or bomb another country without the permission of Congress. She said, but conceded that it's irrelevant what Congress thinks, because this president goes and does whatever he wants to do to any country. That's right. He does that because he's the cruel king in Isaiah the 19th chapter. Isaiah 19 and 4. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord of hosts. So that's ultimately talking about Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, because he's really going to be, you're going to see the indignation of the Lord when he sends his son here. but it could be used for Esau, because you Egyptians, that's who y'all voted for, and this is what you get. I hope it get worse for you, because the worse it get for you, the better it get for me. The more I can relax and feel a lot better. I can't wait till there's no more work and you give us universal basic income, because two things are gonna happen in that time. We're getting closer to the chip, and more hell's gonna be breaking loose. So that's good. That's good, man. And more hell going on around the earth. That sense of fate accompli that accompanies recent, I don't know what the hell that spelling, recent Duck administration foreign policy actions, including the capture of Maduro, the Venezuelan president, permeated the New York gathering of several hundred protesters. Scores of protests were sponsored by a coalition of left-wing groups, including Answer Coalition, the National Iranian American Council, 5051, American Muslims for Palestine, the People's Forum, the Palestinian Youth Movement, Code Pink, Black Alliance for Peace, and the Democratic Socialists of America. Oh, man. Esau's funny as hell, man. These different heathen nations. Where they get all this shit from? Following Jake. Following Jake, man. The Black Alliance for Peace. You people are out of your damn minds. The coalition listed other emergency protests on Saturday, including Atlanta, Baltimore, Boston, Chicago, Cincinnati, Denver, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Miami, and Minneapolis. So that's uproars of the people. Others will be held on Sunday in smaller cities, including Albany, New York, Ellensburg, Virginia, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Decorah, Iowa, Gainesville, Florida, and Springfield, Missouri. Organizers put out a statement calling Duck's unprovoked illegal attack on Iran is an act of war that threatens to cause unthinkable death and destruction, but the people of this country reject another endless war and will take to the streets now and make our voices heard. Well, wait until he tell you there's gonna be a draft. Look at this Jake. He in the front of the whole damn thing. Look at Jake. Let's see what he put on around his neck. U.S. hands off Iran. Solidarity with working people and oppressed nationalities in Iran. For a government of workers and farmers. Socialist Workers Party. Paul Malhut for New York governor. Willie Cotton for it. See, this is not what you want to be doing, man. This is a rebellious Jake. He don't even know it, though. He out there. Look at this Jake way back here in the back. Nigga, come on, man. You people are out of your damn minds, man. You got Moab. And fuck these people, man. You need to get your shit together before the Lord kill your ass. Nigga. The American Civil Liberties Union joined scores of Democratic lawmakers to demand that Congress take immediate action to end Trump's, or Duck's, unconstitutional use of military force against Iran. Duck don't give a fuck, man. He don't give a fuck. If it's unconstitutional, he's bombing shit. Killing shit too, man. He getting the bang for his buck. The veteran civil rights group noted it had been steadfast in assisting from Vietnam through the war in Afghanistan, both wars in Iraq, the military action against Libya, and the ongoing use of force in Iraq, Syria, Yemen, and Somalia. That the Constitution is clear that decisions on whether to use military force require Congress-specific advance authorization. Well, it shows that your system doesn't work, man. It's full of shit. All you got to do is get one fat nigga to go in there and just do whatever the fuck he wants. And then you just, no accountability. So if that's how the Constitution is if that's how it is, because it was wicked to begin with. And that's what the Lord is showing you. Wickedness doesn't prosper you, man. You can always amend this and change that, and it was designed to set something up just like for the duck to rule, because it's not working under the law, statutes, and commandments. In a righteous society, it wouldn't be like this. Let me grab this in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 5, verse 8. If thou seest the oppression of the poor and violent perverting of judgment and justice in a province, so there was 31 bombings from U.S. and Israel in 31 provinces in Persia or Iran. Marvel not at the matter, for he that is higher than the highest regardeth, and there be higher than they. So you ain't supposed to marvel at these things like this dude is. He's marveled at what's going on in the world because he don't believe in the Lord. So he's being tossed to and fro with the rest of the world. Let me grab this in the book of, I believe it's Ephesians. I couldn't find this last time I tried to look for it. Ephesians. Where are you? Ephesians chapter 4. Ephesians 4 verse 14. Let's start at 13. Ephesians 4 verse 13. Till we all come in the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God, unto a perfect man, unto the measure of the stature of the fullness of Hamashiach, that we henceforth be no more children, tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive. But speaking the truth in love may grow up into him in all things, which is the head, even Hamashiach, from whom the whole body fitly joined together and compacted by that which every joint supplieth, according to the effectual working in the measure of every part, maketh increase of the body unto the edifying of itself in love. So you don't want to be like a little kid, man, tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine. So all this information that you being bombarded with, different doctrines, all this propaganda, this is all different winds that are knocking you off from serving the Lord. You know, you might believe in the Lord, but you know, you're supposed to take this time to really build yourself up into what's really written, so we can walk accordingly. Because if not, we're going to be putting ourselves in harm's way. And that's what he's doing. Showing you that he's not operating in the wisdom of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua. He's operating in the wisdom of this world, which puts him at odds with the Heavenly Father and his Son. Will put you in the crosshair of being destroyed. And, you know, the crazy part about it is, no matter how many, that's why this word is important, but no matter how many videos you make, you don't know, well, you really don't know how it gets to who. But this is why the nation of Israel, they need to hear the word. I forgot what precept I was looking for. That sentiment was echoed by Willie Cotton, 48 of Brooklyn, New York, who told The Guardian that he didn't believe it was in the interests of the U.S. for Iran to have nuclear weapons. But I am opposed to U.S. bombing. So you believe it was in the interest for the U.S. for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. Didn't believe it was in, he didn't believe it was in the interest for the U.S., of the U.S. for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. I support the demonstrations in Iran, he said, and support the thousands that have been killed by the regime there. But the U.S. doesn't go in there to help them, nor to benefit the region. It's going in there for its own interests and aims. Oh my God. So this is why you just leave the cause of your own people and just go fight for the heathen now, right? And that's what's wrong with the nation of Israel. They don't want to suffer. They want to just fuck what he did to us. Let's go help the heathen out. Nah, man. let them get what they deserve. This is what they worked for. They worked to be destroyed. Let them have it. Is it Jeremiah 2? Jeremiah 2 and 33. Why trimmest thou thy way to seek love? Therefore that hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways. So you trimming your way to seek love from the heathen, following their causes and stuff, but you don't want to suffer with your own people. And that's the problem with Israel, man. That's why a lot of y'all you don't read the scriptures. You never come to the knowledge of the truth. Hebrews 11 verse 23. By faith Moses, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents because they saw he was a proper child, and they were not afraid of the king's commandment. By faith Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. And that's what you're doing. Esteeming the reproach of Hamashiach greater riches than the treasures in Egypt, where he had respect unto the recompense of the reward. So you don't have respect unto the recompense of the reward. You don't believe the Lord's going to save you. Hebrews 11 verse 27. By faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured and as seeing him who is invisible. So he trusted in Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua, or Yahweh. So there you go. And that's what Jake right here, he don't understand. Cotton acknowledged that Duck told Iranians, his name is Cotton, as he announced the strikes earlier Saturday, that the attack on Iran's theocratic regime represented probably be your only chance for generations to take power. He said that to Venezuela and then said, "This is our oil," 2 minutes later. Cotton pointed out skeptically, U.S. history is that they go into these conflicts for its own benefit, not for the benefit of the people there. I don't think he's deviating from the course of protecting U.S. business interests, including his own. Of course he's not. Thief cometh not but to steal, kill, and destroy. You see what he did to your people. What do you expect something better for the rest of the people? He's the reason why no one knows what their biblical identity is. Ecclesiasticus, the 12th chapter, never trust thine enemy. You're an example. That's why he hates you. Every time he sees you, you're a reflection like, damn, I destroy these niggas and they're still here. They're still here, man. Why are you still here? Why didn't he just kill your ass since he hates you so much? Because the Lord wants you to be here. All right? But that's no different than Biden or Obama or any of the like. I don't give backhanded support to Obama. He had the same course of sanctions that hurt the working people of Iran, Cotton said. Is this Cotton here? Willie Cotton of the Socialist Workers' Party at a protest in New York Times Square on Saturday. That's Willie Cotton. Willie Cotton. As a member of the Socialist Workers' Party, he added he was firmly is support of Israel defending itself after Hamas cross-border attack on the country on October 7, 2023. It was Iran that organized the bombing campaigns against Israel, and Israel has a right to defend itself. He's just full of propaganda, man. You full of shit, Willie. You better get your shit together. You're going to die. But the U.S. isn't defending itself here. It's advancing its goals all around the world. What do you think? That's what happens when you go into power. What do you think is going to happen with us? You think we're just going to be nice to everybody? Willie, you got to die, man. You got to go, Willie. You got to go, my man. Unless you repent, but you sound like you so far up some fucking stupid-ass organization's ass, you'll never have time to read the Bible. 2nd Esdras 9:5, for like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, so it's evident that we're in the end days, the last days. Even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonders, in powerful works, and endings, and effects and signs. You know, just like in the beginning. plain beginnings and wonderful and powerful works, and endings and effects and signs. So these effects and signs is what we're seeing manifesting the end. And everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby ye have believed. So your belief, your works, your faith, that's how you shall be saved. Shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. So that's talking about the elect that are going to be preserved from the said perils. Then shall they be in pitiful case which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torment. So you abuse his ways by taking this grace period to be a damn protester, to not seek the Lord. You want to stand up for heathen rights and shit like that, when they're paying for their sins they committed against the nation of Israel. But you want to defend them. Going back to James chapter 4 in verse 3, ye ask and receive not, because ye ask amiss, that ye may consume it upon your lusts. Yeah, you ask for things according to your lusts. You don't receive your prayers because you ain't praying right. Your prayers are not aligned with the will of the Lord. You want things, I want peace in the earth. I want the heathen to be saved. I want all this bullshit. Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with God? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of God. So he's a friend of the world. So you're an enemy with God. All right. Protesters gathered as the FBI counterterrorism and counterintelligence teams were placed on elevated alert nationwide. Kristi Noem, the Homeland Security Secretary, said she is in direct coordination with our federal intelligence and law enforcement partners as we continue to closely monitor the thwart any potential threats to the homeland. I thought you told the lady that got shot in the face she was acting like a terrorist with that car. So Kristi Noem don't know shit. She treats people of her own people like shit. I'm surprised she still has a job. This is how fucked up your government is. It's just ridiculous. All those protests about Kristi Noem, she's still in power. So your protest is, what you're doing is vanity. It's not doing anything. You're just putting yourself in harm's way. Eventually, they're going to start shooting at you over here in Babylon. Jacqueline, a woman who was giving out Stop the War on Iran placards on behalf of the Party for Socialism and Liberation. Hey, you want socialism? Party for Socialism and Liberation? Like, what the fuck are we talking about here? She's a communist, man. Like, do you even know what you're getting yourself into? Said even if protests did not have any effect in stopping the bombing, at least we can voice that people oppose another endless war in the Middle East. Another endless war, man. Revelation 11 and 14. Don't worry, this is going to be the last one. Just one more. Revelation 11 verse 14. The second woe was past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So y'all calling this a war. We'll see if it escalates. He's bombing Dubai. This is all good that he's bombing Dubai. It says it's not in any of our interests. That's a typo, whoever wrote this. To the people here in the face of the cost of living crisis, murder on the streets by ICE in the U.S. is not an arbiter or beacon of democracy. I think we've all seen that lie pretty clearly now. So you look like you're probably out there with ICE. I mean, your sign says multiple different things. U.S. hands off Iran, solidarity with working people and oppressed nationalities in Iran. Like, you're all over the place. For a government of workers and farmers. Like, what? Socialist Workers Party. Then you like Paul Malhart for New York governor, Willie Cotton for it governor. I don't know. I can't read that part of this. Cotton for it governor. I don't know what IT means. Is that like a different state? Which state starts with IT? I don't know. Maybe I'm dumb. It's not in any of our interest to the people here in the face of the cost of the living crisis. And then you mad about the living crisis, murder on the streets by ICE. So you got a lot of protesting to do, man. Healthcare worker Christina Perez, 44, said she joined to protest the duck regime in general, all of it. It's like the constant salt in the wound. You never know what you're going to wake up to. Why is this person allowed to all these legal atrocities and no one stops him? It's like rampant tyranny. And that's the sign you made. That shit's childish as hell, man. This is what I'm saying. It's stupid. Stupid, man. She's just out there having fun. She going into slavery too. Asked how she felt waking up Saturday to the news of the strikes, Perez said, "Unfortunately, I'm not surprised. And why do I have to keep waking up for more terrible shit? We're being distracted from the things that really matter because you're constantly being inundated." What's inundated mean? Constantly being inundated. Inundate. Overwhelm someone with things or people to be dealt with. Inundate. Americans have legitimate grievances, but there's never money to solve those things and always money for war. That's right. You got money for war but can't feed the poor. That's what Tupac said. You taking Tupac's lines right there. There's never money to solve those things and always money for war. You ain't taking it. Yep, so that's the people of Babylon, man. They mad because their king is a tyrant. And good. That's what you get. I mean, did you think the scriptures weren't going to... You pretty much betting against the scriptures by lining yourself up with the heathen because they're fully opposed to the will of the Lord. So if you want to play on that side, you got a reward for that too. But I'm going to end it here. Lord's will, this was edifying.